Thanks for tuning in to the Joe Podcast. You rocking with Cousin P, Deuce Madden. What's popping?
What's good? What's good?
So we got Deuce Madden, steady low. He virtual. Well, he talking to us through the roadcaster today, but he with us. He always live in Texas. So today's special guest, we have a podcaster. He's a jack of all trades. He's an educated man. He has a degree. He's worked under his degree. He found out that didn't work for him, so he pursued something different. You know, man, he's branded in a CrossFit world. You know, that's very broad, and it has the top tier athletes up in it. You know, he's deciding to take a different tour that just the CrossFit and the regular working class ain't for him, but he's here to tell his story. Y'all give it up for Jay Jones.
Let's get it. Let's good.
Jay, what's popping?
Man, you know, I'm just blessed, man. I'm sorry I kept y'all a little bit too late. It's like you got a lot of time not a lot of time trying to see everybody before you make that big jump. So just trying to fit everybody in. And I'm greatly appreciative for you allowing me to be on your podcast today.
Man, it's family time, man.
No doubt.
It's family time. How you been, man?
Man, life is good. As you already know, I'm taking this step, joining the United States Marine Corps. I actually leave here in a few hours, start heading to D.C. and get it started, man. Like you said, I coach CrossFit, got a college degree, a lot of good things. I just kind of as I look back in my life, like I was telling somebody this the other day, it was like I don't really feel fulfilled. In a sense of I love helping people and I love doing things, but it was just like I look back at my life and I say when I'm 25 years old, right, I could be like, oh man, you remember them times we had back at A-State? And people yeah man, that was crazy. And I kind of had this in a sense this little midlife crisis when I turned 30. I look back and I was like, what have I done in the last 5 years that I could be like, all right, that was beneficial? Yeah, coaching and training and everything is good, but it's I don't want to be 90 years old, my deathbed, saying I wish I would have did this or I should have did that. And so it was when COVID happened, that made me real deal lock in, because I'm all right, I'm doing the podcast, you know, and I feel like a lot of people can relate to what I'm talking about. And even though in the very beginning I kind of rubbed some people the wrong way, but I feel you know, life is about giving and taking, and it's also about learning. And so as I got older and more mature, when COVID happened, I was I don't want somebody to have that control over me to where if I lose my job today, I got to be what the hell, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so for me now, it's when we talk, I can so much relate to jack of all trades because I believe in having multiple sources of income.
Absolutely.
And I feel I coach CrossFit. I work at JJ's at a bar. People why you do that? I'm I don't got nothing else to do on a Friday, Saturday, so I can bounce at the club and make some money, you know. And then I also I coached at this another facility where I coach youth athletes, and I help them get to the next level. And then on top of that, I had a main job where I was the event manager, where I travel all over the U.S., you know, and set up different expo centers. And then on top of that, I was doing the podcast and everything. And, you know, not without going too far too soon, but I feel life is you know, if you working on the oven, right, and you cooking 4 different things on 4 different eyes, you got to pay attention to everything. And for me, I still haven't understood or learned how to balance everything. So I give all my energy to this, and then something starts to overcook.
Yeah.
I give all my energy to this, and I'm not doing this. So it's you know, I'm still learning and going through, trying to find my way through this thing called life.
So as you've done many things so far at a young age too, and some great things that I would say coming from a young man. But what would you say your overall life purpose is?
I can honestly say now that my life is bigger than me, in a sense. I believe that truly God put me here to help other people achieve greatness. and whatever their greatness is. And like when we talk about like coaching, that's why I love coaching and training people, because I always look at it like this, right? I look at it as like you have a cook and you got a chef, right? So when people like, Jay, you a trainer, I don't really like that term, because if you can, anybody can go in the kitchen and cook, but a chef don't need no cookbook. He can just go in there. He know what he doing. He know exactly what it is. And that's why I look at myself as like, I'm not a trainer, I'm a coach. So I think that my ability to go into a room and make anybody comfortable and train them and coach them, not only physically, but mentally, and, you know, help them realize things that they didn't even know that they could do. And I truly believe like God put me here on this planet to help people achieve whatever their greatness is, help them realize that. So that's why I love working with older people, but a lot of times I love working with youth, because I wish, you know, not saying that I grew up in a bad neighborhood or anything, but I wish I would have had somebody who believed in me like I believe in these kids. I'm like, man, I tell kids all the time, like, man, you can do really whatever you want to do. And, you know, in a world full of negative, I believe I could be that positive light. Yeah. You know.
Jay, I'm a very firm believer in everybody's upbringing, their foundation. You know, it got a lot to do with, you know, how they are when it comes to being an adult and going in different avenues. I just want to know what your upbringing was about. What was like?
Man, I can honestly say my upbringing was way different than a lot of other people's, in the sense of not trying to like down anybody like that I grew up with, but like both my parents still together to this day, right? So like, you know, when people talk about the single parent household, I can't really relate.
Can't really relate to it.
Because my mom and my dad still together to this day. You know, like they had their ups and downs. So when I look at a relationship and I look at a family, like, no, I didn't have Jordans growing up. Like I was the only child, but my mom, like, and my dad wasn't on that. So it was like, I wanted to be the cool kid, but I had enough to be, you know, normal. I didn't have the Jabot jeans. I didn't have the J's and all of that other stuff. Like I wanted to be the cool kid, but I was like anybody that know me in high school, Jay was lame, and I'm cool with that. So like growing up, I had the thick glasses. I had the normal haircut. My dad didn't let me get parts, and he didn't even let me get my sideburns long. He'd be like, that's little female stuff. So I had like the box, like it was just, you know, it was crazy. Like I had a good childhood, but you know, they did the best they could. But I was by no means like the cool kid, you know what I'm saying? Like it was just me, you know. I grew up in a 2-parent household. They did the best they could. Both my parents, college educated. So it was like, that was normal for me to say, all right, I got to go to college. Like that wasn't like a new thing.
Did they push you to go to college, or you just look at them as they had degrees and stuff, so you like figured that you had to do the same?
I ain't gonna say they pushed me, but it was kind of like, maybe they did, but it was like that was expected. Like you go to high school, then you go to college. There was never a question about, are you gonna go to college?
Yeah.
It was like, that's what you're gonna do. And so, because my mom actually, when I was growing up, she was the financial aid director at Arkansas Baptist College. So she worked at a college. Okay. So it was like, that's what you gonna do. So it's just like a matter of where you gonna go.
Yeah.
And so for me, like when people talk about like being a first generation college student, I'm like, you know, like that's different for me, because like both my parents went to college. My mom got a master's, and my dad damn near had a doctorate. You know, so education, which I wasn't even really good at, but education that's the bare minimum, get a college degree. So that's how I grew up, you know, streets of Little Rock, not too hood, but, you know, just right there in the middle class.
Did you play sports?
I did. I wasn't as good as I thought I was, but, you know, anybody that know me that know when I went to A-State, I kind of changed my identity up.
That's why I asked, because I wanted to try to get into like how you went from high school and everything into like being a bodybuilder and training and stuff like that, you know?
I was going to answer to that, Jay, because I met you a year after you got to after you got to A-State. So you were a sophomore, but you kind of started to, when I met you, already a little bit out your shell. You had your own personality, but I know you personally. So I know you really like reserved and like to yourself. Like, so how did that? Like, how did you like kind of start to become that social butterfly and come out your shell as you transition from high school to college?
Man, that's really dope because and I'm not proud. I'm not proud of this, but I'm just being 100% honest, right? So when I went to college, I changed everything. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like I had that guy gave
Blue
me
chip.
guy gave me contacts, so I started wearing glasses, got the contacts. I was at my dad's house, so I got my hair cut how I wanted to get my hair cut, and you know, I basically went to college and changed my personality. I straight up lied to chicks, right? They'll be like, "Where you from?" I'm from California.
Damn.
Hey, straight up, like
Yeah.
they was like, "Where you from?" I'm like, "I'm from California." They was like, "Why are you here?" I was like, "I'm a blue chip prospect," and so like girls would just call me blue chip, right? And you know, now that I look back, I'm like, "Damn, that was super lame." But that was
Got you in the door.
yeah, that was how I got out my shell because I felt like nobody liked Jay, or at that time it was Justin, right? So that's where I went from Justin to Jay because everybody in high school knew me as Justin. Like Jay didn't happen till I got to A-State, and I was like, just call me Jay, and people was like, "Oh, Jay Jones." I'm like, yeah, that's Jay Jones, or they be like, "That's Blue Chip," and so in a messed up sense, me changing who I was technically kind of made me feel more comfortable with who I am because I was like, man, nobody like Justin lame, like, but Jay cool,
Yeah,
Kind of reinvented yourself.
yeah, like Steve Urkel to Stephon.
Yeah.
Do you feel like with your parents like being educated and being kind of more formal, you feel like just you really couldn't be yourself, or they kind of kept you in a box for your own protection or for the image, or kind of wanted to mold you more of what they wanted you to be?
Oh yeah, 100%. You know, and you know, to this day, I still love my parents, but at the same time, like anybody in my family, like my cousins, even y'all, like y'all know me, like I'm goofy as hell, and so it's like when I can go out and be around other people, it's like I can be somebody different. It's me, but it's like when I'm around my mom, like my mom is the only person who really like understands me like that, where I can just be silly. My daddy be like, what are you talking about? You know, but my mom is like, this dude here crazy. So I just be like, all right, I can be myself around her. But like growing up, it was like, this is what you do. You don't act like that when you go out. So then when I got to college, I didn't give a shit. So I was just like, man, I'm just gonna be me.
Yeah.
So that's when like when I met everybody else, like I would go to these parties and they'd be like, what is wrong with this dude? He don't care. I would go up and talk to girls. I'd be like, hey, yo, what's up? My name's Jay Jones. You should give me your number. She'd be like, what are you talking about? I like your confidence. I'm like, yeah, I know you do. Give me that. And that was because I never could do that growing up.
Yeah.
So when I got an opportunity, you let me out my shell. I was like, oh, I'm rocking this.
That freedom.
Yeah, 100%. Because I couldn't be like that at home. Like when I'm in Little Rock, the people who know me, they thought they knew me. They was like, man, this dude lame. Like y'all don't know Jay Jones. People like, nah, Jay Jones, he cool than the motherfucker, you know?
Yeah.
Because like y'all saw me after when I was in college. But like ask anybody when I was in high school, like, man, that nigga was lame. But when I got to college, I was cool.
A totally different person.
Oh, 100%.
Totally different person.
I changed up everything.
But you so when you went to college though, you had classmates from high school to go to the same college.
Yeah, they
man.
snitched on me.
They said you weren't no blue chip.
Oh man, they snitched on me, man.
Damn.
They was hating on me, man. So, cause like I said, I was winning. Like I was like, I ain't never had this type of attention before.
They mad.
Yeah, bro, like 100%. Like I ain't even stunned because I got to a certain point to where when I was in high school, nobody was checking for me. But when I got to college, people was like, oh, you know, girls like Jay Jones, they say, blue chip, man, he cute. Like, you know, he work out too. He on the football team. And I was winning. Of course, some niggas from high school, I say his name, Corian, and them other niggas, man. They was like, nah, man, that nigga went to Hall. I'm like, why you just couldn't lie with me, bro? You mad because you was cool in high school. Now you ain't cool no more, and I'm cool.
Yeah.
I went from geek to chic.
Throwing shade.
Yeah, man, throwing shade on me, man. So, yeah, I just reinvented myself, and that's truly, man, like what helped me, you know, find out at that moment. I didn't even care. Like, yeah, I got caught up in my lie, but then at the same time, I was like, this me now.
You here now?
I'm here.
Yeah. And that's one of many stories of people that do the same thing, you know, so they'll relate, you know what I mean?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, for sure.
So
lot of
that,
people like leave home after school or leave college and move to a different city and become a completely different person. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
like people who know you want to keep you in that box of what they knew you had
Right.
and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So yeah, a lot of people don't want to see you grow
What
or
people don't
see you
understand
change.
is once you get into college, you still 18, 19, you still
Still,
coming into
yeah.
yourself though.
Right.
You don't even know you yet, for
Yeah,
real. You
that's
know what
true.
I mean? So
So that so in a previous episode we shot, P was explaining how when he was a teenager and everything, how he went through different motions and still was finding himself and everything. One thing about you is you've always been the same person, but I've always known you were different. You know,
Yeah.
the way you think, the way you dress, and everything, the way you carry yourself was different. You know, so what was that push? What was that decision to where, you know, because you have several branches that you could choose from.
Mm-hmm.
What made you go with the Marines?
So, man, being truthful, so like I was like, all right, it's gonna sound corny, but I was like, I want to fly jets like Will Smith in Independence Day.
it was dope.
Yeah, and that was the first place I went. I was like, I want to fly jets. It's like, brother, you too tall and you too blind. I was like, well, that's out for that because I don't want to do nothing else. And so, and then they was like, well, you could go to the Navy and you could sit on the ship. I'm too tall for that, not doing that. And then it was like, well, that leaves the Army and that leaves the Marines. So, man, like true be told, man, I saw like a commercial and it was just like the few, the proud. And I was like, man, them niggas dope. And like they had the dress blues on and my man was like, had the clean cut and it was like the Marines. And I was like, man, I want to be one of them dudes, man.
Yeah.
And so I've always like, I was super respected. And maybe you can relate to this. Like I've always respected people in the military. And it was just like, I feel like those dudes were like real life superheroes, man. Like I was like, what is it about somebody that will make them be like, all right, you know, it's like not saying that it's on the same level as Jesus, but I'm like, what makes it so different than a person think like, man, I would give my life up for somebody who don't even care shit about me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've always respected that. And so it was like, I've always wondered, like, do I have what it takes to do that? And so it's kind of like me questioning myself. And it was like, man, I pledged the fraternity and man, these niggas you trying to kill me. And I was like, I didn't even know when I was coming out. And I was like, at least I know when I'm done.
Yeah.
I just got to last to November 20th. And so I was like, man, I was like, what if I could be the example? You know what I'm saying? Like, what if I could have this life that means more than me? Because I tell you, like, when people used to ask me, like, what is your deepest fear? And to me, my deepest fear is to die and be forgotten. Like, I don't want to die and somebody, and like, y'all like celebrate me and people like posted all this stuff on social media. And then like 6 months from now, nobody come by and see my grave.
Yeah.
You know, so I feel like with coaching, it makes it so special because I can affect multiple people's lives.
Yeah.
And then even in the military, it's like, you can say whatever you want, but what you can't say is like, I didn't put everything that I had into this life. And that I'm willing to sacrifice my life for you, even if you don't even care.
Yeah.
And so when I was studying history, I was always looking back at, you know, the Executive Order 9908, where they desegregated the military. And I was like, it's so crazy that these black dudes will go to war for a country and come back and not even be equal.
Mm-hmm.
But if we look at like the civil rights, we look at like that example kind of set the tone when people was like, all right, these people will go over here and die for this country and they come back and they can't even eat with white people. So I was like, okay, I get that and I understand that. And so when one of the guys came back, he got beat up till he was blind. And so then that's what kind of like, you know, started the process of, you know, civil rights and people starting to desegregate the military. That was the first step. And then once they start doing that, then you start having like the Martin Luther Kings and the Malcolm X's. But before that, it was a desegregation of the military. So it was kind of like this focal point, and I kept coming back to it. And so for me, it was like, I was like looking at history and looking at the first Black Marines and, you know, things like that. And I was like, they just had such a dope like legacy. It was like, and like no disrespect, but it was like, you know, you had seamen or shit, sailors, and then they would always say soldiers, and then they would have Marines. Like Marines had their own like title, and I was like, man, like how dope would it be if I could say Jay Jones is a Marine? And that's something that nobody can take from me. That ain't no lie.
Right.
That ain't Jay Jones back in 2007. That's real, and it's something that I earned. And I guess you could say almost like I loved my days in the fraternity, but everybody know how that like kind of like turned out and everything. It kind of like messed up. But it was like I did the hard part. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like as I get older in life, I need that. Like I yearn for that challenge. That, and it was like the Marines, like the people say that's the hardest one, and I was like, well, that's the one I want to do. You know what I'm saying? Because at first I was like, all right, let's try to do like Navy SEALs or something like that. Mm-hmm. But the problem is with the Navy SEALs is if you try out and you don't make it, they put you where they want you. Yeah. I'd be damned if I be a cook on a ship. Something like LL Cool J and Deep Blue Sea, that's out.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, I'm going to do the Marines because I could try out. And if I don't make it,
that's it.
I'm still a Marine.
Yeah.
You know? So I that's why I chose the Marine Corps over everything, though.
Nice. So that would you say that so we going into being a coach and everything, what year did you actually start officially coaching?
I started officially coaching CrossFit. I got my certification in 2015 or 16, I believe.
Okay. And so you go into CrossFit, you get your certification, and then I start seeing pictures of you with different brands on and everything. Mm-hmm. So how did that come about?
Man, it was just like my personality was like, I'm loyal to a fault, but it was like I'm always going to support people who support me. So it'd be like, this company be like, hey, I'm going to send you free protein or free whatever. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to rep it, you know, because you don't know me. Like, you don't have to do that for me. So I'm like, yeah, like if somebody benefits from it, from me, then I'm 100% with it. And so you would get like stuff like that. And then you would get like, and it's like literally, bro, it's just talking to people. So I would go to these expos for junk where I work, and I would just connect with people, and we would just talk, and they'd be like, oh man, this dude's kind of a dope person, because I was genuine. Like I would go up to people not wanting nothing. And I think that a lot of times people go with these disingenuous ideas. It's like, oh, what can I get from this person? And it's like, I don't, like I told you, like I grew up ugly. Like, wasn't nobody cool with me like that until I got to college. So I have a different perspective in a sense, like when I talk to somebody, it's genuine, because I don't want nothing from you. I just want you to be the best version of yourself possible. And if it comes to supporting my homeboy podcast, to supporting my homeboy shirt line, I'm gonna do it because you family. Like I look at you as family, and I don't want nothing from you. I just want you to win, because if you win, I know that we all gonna win.
Yeah,
100%.
You said you went to these expos. That you going to these expos had something to do with dealing with your job?
Yeah. So I'm the event manager for junk brands, right? Mm-hmm. So I travel to, let's just say, for example, if I went to the Arnold is a big fitness expo, where like all the top bodybuilders, all the top weightlifters, they go and they compete, you know, whatever, like the Ronnie Colemans, the Arnold Schwarzenegger type things. Mm-hmm. So we go to these events, and I set up a booth, and I sell headbands, right? So people come in and like, oh, tell me about this product, and I tell them about it. And I'm like, so what do you do? And they're like, oh man, we out of Columbus, Ohio, and we sell Optimum Nutrition. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty dope. Like tell me about it. And they're like, oh, here's a sample. Try it out. And I'm like, oh, this is pretty dope. And so we just get those organic conversations, but it's different because, like, I'll tell you a perfect example. I was talking to this one guy. He was like literally the CEO of his company. It was a supplement company. I forgot what it was. But like literally, he was like, man, you a cool dude, man. Here's like he sent me like $300 worth of stuff, and I was like, bet.
Wow.
And so I checked it out, and it was like he was like, oh man, I had these shoes. I can't wear them, so I'm gonna send you these shoes. So they'd be like, damn, like he just giving me all this stuff. But it's like most people would look at him and be like, what can I get from him? Because he is this person. I didn't know who he was, and I didn't really care. So it's like when I was talking to him, it was like completely genuine. I was like, man, how's your day going? Oh, it was going good, man. Like at this expo, woo, trying to do this. And so through those organic conversations, he was like, he always took care of me, and I respected that. And so, like, I always value those organic things from people to where I don't want nothing. I just want to be around you and be in your company.
Yeah.
You know, you working for the Junk brand. That didn't have anything to do with your training and your CrossFit thing? Oh, okay.
That's a whole different thing.
Oh, okay.
So when I started coaching CrossFit, the guy who gave me the opportunity, I told him that I wanted to do it. And he was like, well, I do need some help. And it was funny because I couldn't afford the membership at the time. And he was like, I was like, well, I just off top, I was like, well, I see your floors is dirty. I'll clean the floors or something.
Damn.
Like, for real. Like, I was like, because at the time, CrossFit was expensive. It was like $150 a month.
CrossFit used to be really expensive.
And I didn't have no job like that at the time. So I was like, man, I'll clean the floors, bro. I just want to work out. And he was like, bet. So I started doing that, and we kind of like built this organic relationship. And he's like, man, you really good at talking to people. And I was like, well, that's just me. And he was like, you ever thought about coaching? I was like, well, yeah. I was like, I've always wanted to. I just, I was scared shitless. I was like, who gonna listen to me? Mm-hmm. And he kind of like mentored me a little bit. So we started coaching. He told me, like, you should go get your certification, whatever. And that was like me betting on me. Man, that certification cost $1,000. And he wasn't paying for it.
Right.
But, I saved up my money, and I finally got my certification. And I was like, it kind of like, it clicked, because I was like, this is what I was meant to do. Because I can talk to people, I can explain things, I can look at things, and I'm like, okay, I can see this. All right, you should do this, whatever the case may be. And that was the first time in my life, like, things like actually, like, it just flowed. I didn't have to think about it. That's why I was saying, like, the idea between a cook and a chef. Like, when I'm coaching, bro, I don't think. Mm-hmm. People are like, well, how did you figure? I was like, I can see it and I can fix it. Mm-hmm. So natural human motion and movement, like I learn and I study like daily. That's one of the things, like, I don't mind. Like, when I was studying for my certified strength and conditioning license, like, I just enjoy it, because I'm like, I really, really, truly care about helping people be healthier, do better, and just be overall better humans.
Is the strength and conditioning license different
from CrossFit?
So there's how many licenses are that? Is that?
I have 3.
Okay.
So I have a certified strength and conditioning, and I also have my CrossFit certification, but I also have what they call an NASM, a NASM personal training certification.
Somebody looking into that, like, what would be the first step or the process, and why each one? Or do you need all of them, or do you need just one, or why you choose to get all 3? So
I believe personally that if somebody wants to coach or train, I truly believe that you have to ask yourself why. Like, why do I want to coach or train? Because the idea is like, oh, I'm a personal trainer. Like, I mean, I ain't gonna lie, it's like, it sounds sexy, but like, are you really helping people trying to get results, or do you just want it for the fame? Mm-hmm. Because if you just want it for the fame,
for the gram,
yeah, it ain't what you think it is. It ain't, shirt off with abs and whatever the case may be. So when it comes to my certifications, it was like CrossFit is what I started with, But when you get into like a NASM was more or less so I could personal train, because that's what I thought I wanted to do. But then once I got it, I was like, I don't really want to do that. And so when you get your certified strength and conditioning license, it's different, because with that, you can coach at colleges. You have a true understanding of anatomy, physiology, and how the human body is supposed to move. So it's like, if I would tell anybody, it's like, get that first. Because that's going to set the groundwork, because I never really took school seriously, so I never really took anatomy. So that was a huge learning curve for me, was to understand like how muscles cooperate together. And it's like one of those things that you can never truly be fulfilled in, because there's always something else to learn. There's always new studies. There's always new things that you can critique, or like these case studies or whatever the case may be. So I would say if somebody was trying to get into it, first off, you need to ask yourself, why do you want to do it? And are you willing to put in the work? And then the certification, I would say, if I could do it all over again, I'm thankful for the CrossFit one just because that's what got me started. But I would say, man, certified strength and conditioning is like, that's paramount because you can get a certified strength and conditioning and apply to go work at the University of Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go work at the University of Arkansas with no damn NASM or a CrossFit certification.
And a lot of jobs, a lot of the like in the athletic world, they require you to have those.
Yeah,
yeah.
Because you can't tell somebody we can study things and we can say things, but if you don't have a true understanding of how the human body works in the physiology, you can't. And that's my hang up with a lot of personal trainers is because they like, oh, I made it. I'm a personal trainer, but you don't even like. I can look at somebody's programming for a workout and I'm like, they don't know what they're talking about because that doesn't even make sense. And there's so many different things like you hear the term like there's more than one way to skin a cat. Well, in strength and conditioning, there's one way, and there's the right way, and there's the wrong way. So like, just a common example is like, all right, am I training a bodybuilder or am I training an athlete? Because with a bodybuilder, I might say, all right, we're gonna focus on back and biceps because that's a pulling motion, or I might focus on chest and triceps, which is a pressing motion, right? So in a bodybuilder, I might isolate those movements so that they can focus on muscle contraction, which they can get bigger. Whereas an athlete works in different planes. So an athlete will work push and pull at the same time because in the football sense, you're not just going to be pushing something, you're going to be pulling, pushing. So you would have to understand like, this is what I need to work on. So I may have them do something like pull-ups and bench press, right? Active pull, active push. And so maybe I may make that difficult because I may do concentric, which is loading, and then I may have them do work with chains and things like that. But everything that I do has a purpose. And so I understand that, which I didn't know none of that before I got my certified strength and conditioning. Like when I got CrossFit, and it sucks to say, but like they don't really teach you shit. Yeah. It's just like, all right, this is how we're gonna coach a class. This is the workout. This is how you explain it. But they don't go into, well, what is my body supposed to look like when I'm moving? You know. So I would say, man, yeah, the certified strength and conditioning that's paramount.
And a lot of the CrossFit workouts are like full body workouts and everything. But when people jump into it without knowing what they're actually doing or what they're working on, that's how the injuries come about.
Exactly. Everything. Quote unquote personal trainers out there on that worldwide net or whatever you call it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you see it, like you see everybody a personal trainer. And the thing is for me is like the one thing, like the people who are really good at what they do, they don't post videos about it. Yeah. Like I promise you, if you look at the Tim Grovers, the Jordan Shallows, they don't post a video of their clients working out because they don't need to. Because when you know what you're talking about, you don't need to post about it.
What about in the beginning stages?
Even still, you get one person and you blow them up and you focus on that, and that's it. Like, do you know who Tim Grover is?
No, I don't.
Okay, so Tim Grover was the guy who trained Jordan.
Oh, okay.
And so if you go to his Instagram page right now, he ain't gonna have nothing about training nobody. He trains Russell Wilson. He trained Kobe Bryant. He trained Dwayne Wade. But you never hear about him. So the thing is like you hear about all these other people. Tell me one person that you can show me and like they have tangible results where they like, oh, this person is legit. You don't know who LeBron James' trainer is. You don't know who because those people don't need to be out there. Yeah. The people who are out there, it's like you always, like, you know, like the loudest person in the room, probably not the best person to be around, you know? So when I look at these trainers, like even me, like I might post a picture every now and again, but I never post nothing about my training because I keep that close to me. You know, this is my talent. And so I don't need to display it. If you want to trust me and you want to rock with me, I'm going to get you results. Yeah. But I don't need to be like, oh, guys, look at me. This is what I'm doing. Let me train you because I don't need to. Yeah. I'm too busy. I have legit 4 kids right now that I was training before I left for the military. And I meet with them, and literally 3 of them now have D1 offers. I don't post about it. I don't need to post about it. For what? Because it's not done. They're not in college. They're not in league. Now maybe if they make it to the NFL or something, you might see me post something like, hey, look what I did.
Yeah.
But at this moment in time, it's like it doesn't need to be addressed.
Yeah.
And I got people reach out to me all the time like, hey Jay, can you train me? I'm like, nah, I'm good because you're not serious.
If Justin didn't go to A-State and transform himself into Jay, would he be the trainer that he is today?
Hell no. Because A-State taught me a lot about, man, like my brothers, like steady and like y'all, like being, like truly being around all of these different people has taught me that, you know, like P, like, man, you are you.
Yeah.
You don't give a shit what nobody think about you. I remember sometimes, man, we used to get drunk and you would just say what's on your mind and you don't care if people agree with it. And it's like, damn, that's dope. And I would look at you and I'd be like, man, he in the military. I know. Because niggas, when I told niggas that I wanted to go join the military, they was like, how you want to do that? And I was like, I know you done dealt with it. So it's like, these people that I'm around are them. They not trying to impress nobody.
Yeah.
And it's like, either you like it and you cool with me or you not.
Or you not.
And so for me, when I was at A-State, it taught me, bro, you got to just be you. Like, that was cool when you was trying to be like blue chip. But when I came out as myself, I was like, this is me. Like, I don't care.
You felt better too.
Yeah, because I don't care if you, and like steady, know, like, bro, I would talk to girls like, I don't care if you don't like me. They're like, oh, he's an asshole. So move around.
I would say that's one thing that I always admired about you, and like I said, just knowing you personally on the level, we pledged together. Shit, you know, we were neighbors. You know, we've been together all the way up to about 2017. But you've always been unapologetically you. You're gonna say what you feel. It might rub somebody the wrong way, but you're not gonna do what you don't want to do, and you're gonna speak your mind.
Oh,
always. Yeah. Whether it's corny, whether it's abrasive, or like whatever. But you're gonna get your point across and leave it at that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
and, that was, and I had to learn that, man. It's like, it's crazy because like people like, hey Jay, you want to drink? I'm like, nah, I can't do that. You know, they be like, all right, Jay, let's go out, man. You don't never want to go out with us. Yeah, I know. So like, I love you though.
Yeah.
And that's I can't be like, now in my life, I'm 32, bro. I don't care if you don't like me. I won't come around you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But just know, like, if I go to Dallas tomorrow, like, we gonna link up like it ain't, like we ain't missed a beat.
Right.
You know, so the people who know me, they love me. You know, they know what I'm trying to do, and I'm just trying to be a better person. I'm not perfect.
Be a better you.
Yeah, and I'm still trying to figure shit out. I fuck up every day.
Yeah.
But it's like I can admit that, you know, and I can know and say, all right, let me take a step back. Like, Jay, you said something that was messed up. I can look back and be like, all right, that was messed up, and I have no problem admitting my faults. And I think that's me.
Accountability, though.
Yeah. So, you know.
So that so 2015 when you start coaching and everything, where were you working at then?
Oh, 2015.
JB Hunt.
Yeah, I was working at JB Hunt then.
JB Hunt. So what was your position at JB Hunt?
At that time, I was a recruiter.
A recruiter. So there was a point where you quit your job, where you didn't want to. You didn't like the concept of working for someone.
Hell no.
Explain the process of that. How did you come to that?
Man, so when I was working at JB Hunt, and I tell you, man, it hit me like a ton of bricks, bro. We was in this meeting, and they was like, all right, everybody, let's clap it up. And I'm like, what are we clapping for? And it was like, we just hit $3.5 million in intermodal. And I was like,
where our bonus at?
3.5 million? So I was like, hey, how much you getting paid? Because I'm getting like $35,000 a year. And I know, man, y'all got me up here working late on weekends. I'm like, man, fuck this. Like, I was like, man, I ain't getting, like, y'all up here driving BMWs, and I drive a Camry that I can barely afford. I was like, oh no, this ain't it. And so literally, bro, I ain't gonna. After that meeting, I was just thinking about I got to get the fuck up out of here. And it's like it's crazy because like I prayed about it, bro, and like I'm just being straight up. Like I was like, man, God, you got to show me something. But I was too afraid to quit. I was like, man, I just can't quit my job, bro. Like, and I remember like, hey, let me think about this before I say this. So I was at the office one day, and I was like, I just had a lot going on in my mind, man. I was just thinking, bro. Like I had this apartment, this really nice apartment. I had a 3-bedroom apartment to my damn self. Nobody was coming to see me because I stayed so far out. Because I was like, this is what you do when you make so much amount of money. I was like, you go get this, and I had a dining room table. I never even said that. Damn. You know, I woke up and I was like, I'm late to work every day. I don't care. And literally, like, my boss came up to me at the time and he was like, you know, he said some fugazi shit. You be like, you just kind of like look. And I was like, man, you know what, bro? I'm out. And I just literally walked out. And so I quit in my mind. And so I called my mom and I was like, man, I'm out of here. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I ain't gonna do this. Like, I grew up and like at a certain moment in my life where like, even steady, though, like there was times like, bro, I was sleeping on the couch. Like, I ain't had nowhere to stay. And like, I even posted a picture on Instagram. Like, bro, I was sleeping on, like, I sold everything out my apartment. And I'm thankful that cause they was trying to get one up. They was like, no, he didn't quit. We fired him. I was like, well, cool. Now I get unemployment.
Unemployment, yeah.
So I got that unemployment and I cashed out my 401k and I went to Miami for a CrossFit event. And I was like, man, like these dudes out here just living.
Yeah.
I was like, I want a piece of that. And I was like, I can do this. And like literally I started my own business. I started my LLC and I had J Jones Fitness like literally the next week because I had some money. So I started my LLC and I started coaching kids, right? I was working, I would sneak on to Springdale Harbor's track because if you weren't a student, you couldn't go there. I would train people on the track on Sundays because I knew they didn't have nothing going on Sundays. I would sneak people on the track and I would train them and I was getting paid. So then I would use that money and I would flip it and I would go buy more equipment. Mm-hmm. So I would buy like little bands, little ladders and everything. And I even had a buddy made me like a little promo video. Had parachutes, everything, right? So legit, right? I'm making money. Like I got enough money now to where like I had a few clients where I'm getting like $70 a session. Boom. And I'm like, okay, I can flip this. Okay, 70. I can get, 4 sessions a week. That's 140 for 2. So then I get another one. That's another 140. So I'm like, okay, I'm just like flipping it up, trying okay, I can get this one more client, whatever. So I got to a point to where I was like, I'm never working for nobody else again. Well, that's when Junk came along and Junk was like, hey, I think, they took advantage of a little young nigga, but they was like, hey, you can do these events and we'll pay you to travel to these events and you ain't got to pay for your food. You ain't got to pay for your hotel. You just need to drive to the event. I'm like, something fishy about that.
To sell their product.
To sell their product. And so I did that a couple times to make a little extra money because like I would be going like Friday through Sunday, right, and make $400 or $500 easy. Just drive here, drive there, whatever. Well, and this is where I think is the ultimate leverage. They was like, hey, we want you to come work full time. I was like, I'm good. They was like, what do you mean? I was like, you can't pay me enough to work for nobody again. And they was like, well, what if we paid you and you didn't have to work full-time hours, you just do your events and you get a salary? Oh, I'm in there. I do that. And so now I was coaching, had my own business, and then I was doing the Junk thing on the weekends here and there. Sometimes I may have to be gone for a week, but then, I was getting a salary. Mm-hmm. And so I think that personally, man, the ultimate leverage that you can ever have is when you don't need a job. Like freedom. You want me to work for you because I'm good at talking to people. I don't need to work for you. And I think that personally, man, like that's the ultimate freedom in life I think that I personally aspire to get to a certain level in my life to where you want me around and you need to pay me to be around. I don't need you.
Need you at all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, I relate, like we talked about earlier, with the jack of all trades thing. Is like, man, when you good at multiple things, like I'm good at talking to people. I have a knowledge of physiology. I can coach people. And I also have a business mindset where I can do this. And I can also travel. I can go in any room. I know if I'm fired from all my jobs today, I know I can flip that and shake back because I know I have a personal training background. I know I can talk to anybody. I know I can do these certain things. And so I think that made me more valuable when I could tell a company like, nah, I'm good.
And when you went and got those license and credentials, that's something that can't be taken away from you.
Exactly.
I want to rewind back to when you said you went and got your J. Jones LLC. Was it anybody that told you, like, all right, if you want to set up a business, this the steps that you need to bank, or you just went out there and just said,
Bro, I Googled it.
yeah.
I was like, okay, if I have a business, right, I knew I had the wherewithal to know that if somebody was to sue me, they could take everything from me. But if they sue J. Jones LLC, that ain't really, because it has its own EIN number.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right. I literally Googled how to do it, and it was like, all right, what you need to do is you need to go here. You need to apply for this. Make sure it doesn't have a name, get licensing and things like that. And so I did that. And I just off Google, I went to the State House, paid that, did that, literally opened up a bank account under J. Jones LLC. And like, so then anything that I bought, any equipment that I got, I would just put it in there. And so now I'm a business owner at the smallest level, but I have my own business. And so I can file it on my taxes. And so anything, and this is like a straight up jewel, I guess you could say, because one of the guys that I looked up to, he was like, bro, when you got your own business, you don't pay for nothing, technically. You go in there, he's like, your gas, where you driving to your event? So now your car is actually an asset, not a liability. He's like, that little room in there where you studying, where you writing programming, now your rent, a portion of your rent goes as an asset, not a liability. That laptop you got, those shoes you got, that's your uniform, right? Those Nike sweatpants, that's your uniform. I'm like, man, these are like keys to the game.
How did you meet that guy that told you all these things?
I met him when I was working at JJ's.
Wow.
And that's the guy who actually sponsored my podcast at the beginning when I had the little studio.
Yeah.
Yeah. He put me on game, and it was like, again, this dude got money. But I went up to him, and I never wanted nothing from him. Like, I would see him come to JJ's, and people would sit around him because they knew that he would always pay for everybody's bill. But I was just like, I don't drink, so I didn't really care about that. And I don't eat the food from the restaurant, so I'm like, I just rap with him. I'm like, and like literally, bro, no BS. I'm not making this up. I talked to him one time, and I told him, he was like, man, you seem like you pretty educated. He was like, what's give me a book I should read. And I told him 48 Laws of Power.
He was testing you.
I guess so. I was like, you should read 48 Laws of Power. And literally, bro, he read that damn book in a week. And he's like, I had to fire a dude because of that.
Wow.
And I was like, what you mean? He was like, he was using me. And like, one of the laws is never outshine your master. And it's like, this dude would always do stuff, and he would take credit for it. And he was like, I had to fire him. I had to let him go because I figured out what he was doing. He's like, I appreciate that. And I was like, oh shit, like I ain't trying to get somebody fired.
Yeah.
But he was like, no, like you put me on. And so from that moment, he was like, I'm gonna tell you something. He's like, you should get your own business. And that's when I started the LLC. He put me on game on that. He helped me sponsor the podcast. And this dude didn't want nothing. He got everything he want. So what? He don't want nothing from me. And I didn't want anything from him, but he was just a genuine, organic conversation.
They wanted to see you
Y'all
win.
still have a relationship?
Yeah. I saw him before I left.
Yeah.
Nice. So you're doing the CrossFit and everything. You building your relationships up with Northwest Arkansas. People getting to know you and everything. So once you join the Marines and OCS and everything, what does that mean for your clientele?
I'm opening up my own performance facility.
While you're in the Marines?
Yeah. So when I come back from the Marines, I'm going reserves.
Reserves.
So my goal is to eventually go special forces. Like, that's what I want to do. But I know that with what I have, I know I can open up a performance facility. And I know that with my intentions, it's not necessary to make money, but that's going to happen. I want to help people get to the next level. And I know that if somebody can see that and they could be like, because you did, I did. And you know how like growing up where we from is kind of like, you know, either you going to sell drugs or you going to play sports.
Right.
Where I'm like you a perfect example of you don't have to do either one of those. Mm-hmm. You can do something else. And so it's like for me, with the Marine Corps, it gives me an opportunity for three things, right? If I spend 20 years in here, my kids ain't never got to pay for school.
One for a thing.
Yeah. And it's like, I believe it's truly our job as this generation to make the next generation better. Like my parents did the best that they could, but I had to pay for school. My kids ain't gonna have to pay for school. I can buy a house using a VA loan. I can start a business using the military.
Yep.
And so for me, it's like this is a sacrifice, but this sacrifice that I'm gonna technically make is gonna benefit so many other people. Because I know once I open up this gym, I'm gonna give an opportunity to other people to unlock their greatness. But on top of that, somebody can be like, oh man, I remember Jay Jones when he went to Hall, he was a super fucking lame. And now he got his own performance facility.
Yeah.
So it's like, I gotta grow. And like, I can't tell you enough, man, like the next few years, like, I don't want to look back at 5 years, like I didn't do nothing in those 5 years. And that's exactly how I felt when I was 30. Because I looked back from 25 to 30, I was like, I didn't do shit. And like some people who I may have trained and coached, I'm like, nah, man, like you made a big difference. But I'm like, in my mind, I ain't did nothing.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you. That was like, to me, that was a waste of 5 years. And so I don't never want to get to that point again. So it's like, all right, join the Marine Corps. That's a challenge. And at the end of the day, this is going to make me a better human being. It's going to make me more disciplined. It's going to make me better with time management. It's going to make me better in all these other aspects. So then when I open up this facility, it's like, all right, I can say I'm a veteran. I'm also a minority. And this is a place where people can truly feel comfortable because I don't care about your money. I care about you being a better human being.
Yeah.
And people are going to gravitate to that because people gravitate to what is natural. And I don't want nothing from nobody but for you to be great. So why would you go to any other place where they just want your money and they don't care if you get better?
You say you was the only child, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know, not everybody, but a lot of only child, they tend to be real selfish. What makes you so different? Because everything you said tonight is about you just want to be in a position to help others. You know what I mean?
I mean, I was the only child, but man, my parents they didn't operate like that. It wasn't like, oh, we're gonna give you everything you need. It's like, nah, like, bro, you gonna work for this, bro. If anything, I think it was worse. So for me, bro, you ever had to like rake up leaves by yourself? Like when you had to make the little triangle thing and scoop that shit, man. Like I didn't have nobody to depend on. I had to do it all by myself. Yeah. My dad was like, all right, go out there and clean that yard up. I'm like, with who? By myself?
Yeah.
So it was like, for me, it was like everything was about work. And so at a very early age, like Burns, Tommy, and my other homeboy, Chris, like those were like my brothers. So I was the only child, but I really wasn't because like I called Tommy mama, my mama. I called Burns mama, my mama, you know? And so it was like, I've always had that family type of atmosphere. Yeah, I was the only child, but I really wasn't. Like, I never really grew up by myself because I would go down to Tommy's house and his grandma was my grandma. His grandpa, my grandpa. And we would just kick it all day. So I was always been, you know, family with other people's family.
So when you get back from doing your thing with the Marines and everything, where does that leave asking for a friend?
Man, I gotta shake back, man. You got me motivated, bro, because I'm like, my man came in the game strong. You know what I'm saying?
But hold on now. How did I come in the game?
Man, no.
I did my due diligence. I reached out to you and you gave me the game.
I ain't got that. I ain't got that. I'm like, my man came out. And I was like, if anything, it motivated me. I'm like, Jay, you bullshitting. Like, you out here doing it, but you ain't doing it. And I was like, all right, you know. And I think that with yours, man, like, all respect, because it's like, man, like, you said that you wanted to do it. And it's like, people ask me for stuff all the time. Like, oh, man, like, Jay, give me fitness advice. Jay, do this. Jay, do that. And I'm like, oh, you know, I take it with a grain of salt. Like, I'm going to help because I don't never want nobody, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to give whatever. I ain't got much, but I can give you, you know, what I got. And, you know, when you see it and you see some people take little bits and they make it their own, like, damn, that's dope. Like, that's lit, man. And so it's like, you doing this, that's dope. Like, what you doing and what you bringing to the table, and you got P on here. I never would have thought this nigga would have been doing some podcast. And I'm like, this is
a family
lit.
affair, man.
Yeah. And so it's like, it's so much respect and it's so much love, because it's like, man, we just having a conversation.
Yeah.
It's organic.
I think the main push with the podcast was that so often, you know, even when we go out and kick it, before, if we pre-gaming or something, we always talking and discussing and sharing experiences. But for the culture, we need to learn how to monetize things.
Yeah.
You know, and if you create a network where people can come and just listen to you, because that's all people have to do is just listen. If you just listen, you can learn something from everybody.
Right.
You know, and it's essentially all up to you. You know, you can go here and get everything that you want to. You know, somebody can get something from this podcast, from you, your story, from any one of us, you know. So I think the network and sharing experiences aspect of it is that's what so amazing to me. And it's a blessing to be able to do it with your first cousins, you know, your cousin, your brother, and everybody, and bring how we grew up and share our experiences too.
That's lit, man. That's real, because, you know, so many times we don't really have that. As we get older, I can honestly say the sucky thing about life is like, man, people have kids, people get married, and you kind of like get pulled apart. So like having something like this where you can like pull it back together is so dope, because like, man, like, yeah, I wanted to go to Leo Bash and I wanted to kick it with everybody too. And I was like, man, Junk got me out here in Madison, Wisconsin. I should be out here with Steady. I'm looking at the videos, wishing I'm there. I'm like, man, these niggas having a time of their life. And so it's like, when you have moments like that, I can see that. And I'm like, man, and that's the part where, you know, the freedom of choice, of like having your own stuff. Like, I should be able to tell Junk, you know, like, Junk is a cool job, but I should be like, hey, nah, like this weekend, I'm kicking it with my guys, you know, and having this podcast and having these experiences, like, man, like being around you is like, I've noticed like you just a leech in a good way, in the sense of like you just always taking information and using it. And I was like, that is so dope, because it's like, what you don't understand is I take from you and I take from him. Like,
And that's how it's supposed to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The first time I met this dude, I was like, man, this dude kind of crazy, man. I was like, he got a whole grill in and he don't even care. I was like, man, that nigga cool as hell. You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of like you said, like we just feed off of each other. Yeah. And that's dope, because you don't get that, because most people trying to get something.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's when you get people around you who don't want nothing from you, but just to see you win, man, you got to keep them people for sure.
Word.
Definitely.
Speaking of marriage, though, man, when you come back from your training, you come back to pop the question.
Pop the question now. Who?
I don't know. We trying to find out. You know, you got a lot of things going on, bro. You know, this podcast is gonna inspire a lot of people with your story.
I hope it inspire your single friends and let them know that I am single and I am on the market.
It's gonna be some women seeing this like, damn, he got it figured out.
Nah, I don't.
You know what I'm saying?
But man, if I go to Virginia, because I'm finna be here for a little minute, Miss Jones may be down there.
Virginia is for love.
Hey, you may come back. You be like, who is that? I'm like, that's Mrs. Jones right there.
All right.
Unless she listening to this podcast and she want to slide in my DMs.
Jay, so what's mentally, you know, where are you at right now?
And I'm in a good place, man. I feel like, and this is gonna sound arrogant, but like I said, man, I pledge, man. People be telling me, man, the military, this is gonna be. I'm like, bro, I pledge. Like, I thought these niggas was gonna kill me every night. Literally, I was like, bro, if I made it through that, bro. They can't even kill me, bro. They can't. Like, if they do, then it's an accident. I thought these niggas in real life was gonna kill me, and they was gonna try to do it. And so it's like, in my mind, it's like, bro, you messed up when you gave me a time frame. November 20th? I just got to make it to November 20th?
That's suspense.
10 weeks?
I already see the dough. You already see the dough. So
Oh.
you just got to make it.
Ain't nothing you can say to me, bro, that's going to break me because I'm not going to quit. And the crazy thing is, like, you already know, like, OCS, like, all those dudes going to be younger than me. I'm 32. Those dudes going to be like, I'm going to be 10 years older than everybody there for the most part. So for me, I guess you could say the mental aspect is like, how do I deal with that? Not what they going to do, but how do I deal with being around people who
kids
and who don't they not from where I'm from, they don't think like I think, they ain't had the same experiences.
They gonna look at you like you different.
Yeah.
Say, the guy that helped you a lot, that put you in a position, when y'all first conversation, he asked you what book would you suggest, right?
Right.
So somebody out there that might be put in the same position, besides 48 Laws of Power, what would you suggest them to read?
Extreme Ownership, hands down. Extreme Ownership is a book by Jocko Willink, and he was a Navy SEAL. And the only reason I say that, like, that book changed my life in a sense of you have to take responsibility for everything around you. And one of the things that I've learned in my life is, like, life happens because of you. It doesn't happen to you. Anything and everything in your life that happens, you did that. And it's like, it may not be fair. It may not be right, but you had a deal in that. So as a leader, you know, we can not, without going into like politics and everything, but we can talk about how so many things people blame other people. People tell us like, oh, it was so-and-so. Like, no, bro, that was on you. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, it's like in that book, it talks about how do you take ownership of a situation. And when you understand that, it's like in the military sense, though, the one thing that they always say is like Murphy has a say and the enemy has a say. So you have to plan for every contingency that's out there. And I think that makes me super, super dangerous in a sense because I think about, you know, even I learned in the fraternity, you got to think 3 steps ahead. So it's like before I do something, I done already thought about it 3 times over. So with that book, it's going to teach you the cold, hard truth of, bro, like you got that speeding ticket. Man, that cop was racist. Nigga, you was speeding.
We were just having the podcast with Slink the other day, and I said the exact same thing. I had got to a point where I just had to look in the damn mirror, man, because every messed up situation I've always landed in, it was either from one decision or a series of decisions that I made all on my own. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I just feel like once you get into that space where you can accept the mirror and accept the ugliness, then you will be able to change and make some steps going forward. You know what I mean?
Bro, you got to put to rest your demons. Yeah. A lot of people, like, they cover it up. And like I even said this on my Instagram at one point. I say, the one thing you got to be comfortable with is your demons, man, because at the end of the day, if you try to hide who you are and you try to like be something that you not, it's going to come back to get you. And just like I lied about who I was at A-State, it's going to come back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's like now I can look at my life and I can say I did it my way and I ain't embarrassed about nothing. And like I was literally talking to somebody earlier and I was like, yo, like I don't want to, if I could go back in time, I don't want to change nothing at A-State. I just want to relive some moments again.
Right.
And so it's like you said, I can look back and like when I got arrested and when I did all these other things, it's like I did that. You know, it's easy to be like, oh man. And I've heard some people say like, man, I didn't have my daddy in my life, or, you know, oh man, I should have did this. I'm like, nah, bro, you did that. And it's like people don't want to take that because it hurts to know that you're the reason that you in the situation that you in.
Yep.
Like nobody told you to rob that person, now you in jail.
Right.
Nobody told you to do this or do that. You did that.
You did that.
So, yeah, Extreme Ownership, man. That book will teach you how to take responsibility for your actions for sure.
real quick. Yo, for everybody that's out there and your medical professional and your license has expired and everything, reach out to Fast Solutions. Fast Solutions, they do BLS, CPR, all type of courses. AED, reach out to Fast Solutions. Link on the bottom.
They do not do BBLs.
What's the BBL? Oh, okay, gotcha.
Boy.
Well, y'all silly.
Man, but bro, this been great, bro. Very inspiring, bro. You know, knowing you for the years I've known you, it's a lot of things I've learned today that I didn't know. You know, and it's very inspiring, bro. Real talk.
Hey, one last question before we go. What was the lowest moment of your life?
Man, I wanted to kill myself.
Really?
Like legit, man. Like, and I tell you exactly the moment it was. It was I got up here. It was spring of 2010. Man.
You was in Jonesboro then?
No, I was in Fayetteville.
Fayetteville? You was in Fayettille? Okay.
Yeah, I got up here, and at that moment, like I wasn't, I guess you could say Jay Jones or whatever. I was just another nigga, and you know I was working at J.C. Penney at the time, and I was like, bro, like this shit sucks. And I was like, I didn't have that fulfillment, and it was just like, bro, I literally sat in my room for like 48 hours, right? Just staring. Like I couldn't move. And like depression and anxiety, man, it's one of those things. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you because I can't really explain it. But it was like I literally wanted to die. And I tried to. And it didn't work out how I planned to. And like I've literally probably never really told nobody that. And like that was at a moment when I had, I guess you could say, identity crisis. Of, am I Justin or am I Jay? Do I want to do this? Because at that time, like I transferred from Arkansas State. Mm-hmm. I lost a lot of my credits. So I was like damn near like a sophomore or junior again after I had been in school.
Back at square one.
Yeah, and it was a load that was too really tough to bear. And like I didn't know what to do. So I was like, man, this world would be better if I just wasn't in it. And, you know, people, and it's tough, man, because people, like, I know people love me and I know people care about me, but in that moment, I was like, fuck it, man, like, this is it. And so, you know, I ain't gonna go into, like, how I tried to do it, but I did, and it didn't work out. And I was like, man, like, this shit crazy because I shouldn't be here. Mm-hmm. And that moment, and like I can't even tell you honestly, bro, how I came out of it, but it was just like I didn't know how to cope. I didn't know how to deal with it because I just was in such a bad place. Like I felt like no girl wanted me. I felt like I was back at square one with school. I was working at J.C. Penney. I didn't know what I really wanted to do with my life, and it was just like I saw everybody else winning. But I was losing. You know what I'm saying?
You felt like you were losing.
Well, I felt like I was losing. I was just like, man, like literally, bro. I was like, man, this ain't it. And so when I tried and it didn't work out, I was like, should I try again? But I was like literally, like anybody that tells you that they try to commit suicide, and you know, it's not like what you think it is. It's not like it's like a build up, you know. And I got to a certain point where I just was like, I was too afraid to try again. But it was like when everything got to that little boiling point, I was like, I'm all about it. But then when it didn't work out and when I came back too, I was like, do I want to do it again? I was like, nah, man, I gotta. I was like, it freaked me out because I was like, I gotta figure this shit out.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm glad.
This ain't it.
Did you ever seek help?
Later, I did. Like I have a therapist now that I talk to, and help me sort out a lot of things. And without going too deep, it was just a matter of like, again, taking responsibility. But at the same time, it's like I put the weight of a lot of other people's expectations on my shoulders. Mm-hmm. And it was like, it got so heavy. Like there's no way I can get up from this. So when I talk to my therapist about it, like later on in life, it's like I realize like I need to unpack these things.
Yeah.
And I need to be more blunt and be like, hey, you know, if I'm talking to somebody, I'm friends, I'm like, hey man, you really draining my energy. I just need a break. Or like not being able to tell certain people, like, cause I'm a pleaser. Like I want everybody to like me. But it's a certain level of where I gotta be like, yo, I gotta step back because you draining me right now, and I ain't got that much to give. So getting to that point now, I feel like I'm good though.
Man, I appreciate you sharing that, bro. A lot of people gonna have the courage, or you know, they'll kind of brush it off and make up something instead of just being real. But cause it's a lot of people like I know some guys personally that many people know that wouldn't know they went through that also. You know what I mean? So it's people looking, you know, that'll see this that have been in that same position. You know?
Yeah, 100%, man. Like I said, it was just, you know, at that moment, again, it was just like this accumulation of things where, you know, you feel like nobody wants you, nobody really cares, and you know, you see these other people winning, and again, like I said, it just goes back to you gotta take ownership, and you gotta be like, bro, like you in this situation because of what you did. You left there, you did that, and it's like, I'm not trying to tell people that because it's a negative thing, but I'm like, you take that and you can go to the next level with that. Use that as fuel. Don't, like, I always heard, and I used to like start listening to these like motivational speeches, and like Eric Thomas said something that was so dope to me. It was like, don't cry to quit, cry to keep going.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like when I got to that point, I was like, all right, I'm locked in. I can do this. And it's like now it's like, bro, you can't tell me shit. Like, can't nobody stop me.
Yeah.
Like, what you gonna tell me that I can't do?
Because you built that mental agility.
Bro, I tried to kill myself, bro. Like, what can you do that I'm not afraid of nothing? And so, yeah, man, it's just like you gotta just take ownership, man. And so I think that anybody, if you can do that, you undefeated. Like, you can't nobody beat you.
Can't nobody. It's nothing nobody can do to you.
100%.
Yeah. I definitely want to thank you for sharing that with us, bro.
For sure.
That man, it's kind of I ain't gonna say it's weird or whatever, but I never would have guessed that from you because you always have been the person where I seen you. Everybody else feed off of your energy, you know. At A-State, everybody, where Jay at? Where Jay at? You know. So I'm glad you shared that with us, man. And more importantly, I hope somebody's watching this that can actually learn from that, you know, learn from that experience.
Yeah, man.
Especially being men, man.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Because like you get to a certain point, man, like you don't want to tell people like shit like that, because then people get that idea like, oh, like let me like don't pity me, like don't like have empathy but don't have sympathy,
right?
You know what I'm saying? I don't want you to feel sorry for me, but just understand where I'm coming from,
right?
You know, and like now I'm so thankful because like I put things out into the universe that I want people to get back to me. So it's like, if I care about you, I'm gonna send you a video on your birthday and be like, hey bro, happy birthday. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, God forbid I leave this earth, but you can always have that video and think of me, you know? And that's in my mind, like I can never be forgotten. And so it's just like me planting those seeds over and over again. And like now people are like, oh, Jay, you going to the military, man, congratulations. Man, I love you, man. I'll be praying for you. And that shit means everything to me because I can feed off of that whenever I want to quit or I want to like do something. I'm like, man, I can remember this person said this to me and they wanted me to do that. So, yeah, man, to give people their roses while they here.
Definitely, man, definitely.
Sure. And you never know what the next man going through, so you know, don't shit on nobody because they could be gonna push them over the edge. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
right.
Well, Jay, you definitely a jack of all trades, man.
I appreciate that. And
I want to thank you personally for making that extra 30-minute drive, man.
Yeah. It was more like an hour, man. Anytime, man.
But I wanted to do this because when you get back, we revisiting this.
Oh, man.
We following up with this.
Yeah, my personality may change a little bit seeing all this stuff that I'm definitely with that. Yeah. November 20th, so I'll be graduating.
November 20th.
Official tradesman, bro.
You're an official tradesman. Thanksgiving. Man, you gonna be back by Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, I'm finna get all that food because my head gonna be the same size, but my body gonna be smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna look sick.
What that mean for the women?
Shit, I don't know.
Claim her right now. Tell her.
Hey, if you watching, I'm ready.
You hear that? Hey, you better claim her now because the muscles gonna be gone when you get back.
Damn.
But they gonna come back though.
Thank y'all for tuning in. It's Steady Low, Cousin P, and your main man, Jay Jones. Thank y'all.